Hey guys! Welcome to the Rare Coins Explorers. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that you thought was just a regular penny, tossed aside without a second glance. But what if that coin, yes, that humble 1982 USA 1-cent coin, could be worth a jaw-dropping $739 million? Welcome back to the channel where everyday coins turn into hidden fortunes and forgotten change reveals national treasures, and today, we're diving deep into the mysterious and electrifying world of the 1982 1-cent piece, a seemingly ordinary coin with an extraordinary backstory, riddled with minting errors, composition changes, production anomalies, and a historic shift in U.S. coinage policy that transformed this coppery token into one of the most mythologized and sought-after collectibles in numismatic history. And as always, before we dig into the shocking secrets and million-dollar possibilities buried within this unassuming cent, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss out on these mind-blowing money mysteries hiding in your change jar. Now, back in 1982, the U.S. Mint made one of its most important decisions regarding coinage. Due to skyrocketing copper prices, it decided to change the composition of the penny from 95% copper and 5% zinc to a much cheaper alternative, 97.5% zinc with only a thin 2.5% copper plating. This change wasn't made on a single day, but rather over the course of the year, and because of this transition period, both the copper and zinc versions were minted in the same year across multiple U.S. Mint facilities, which opened up a Pandora's box of errors, varieties, and potentially priceless rarities, the most famous of which includes the legendary 1982 D small date copper penny, a coin that, according to official mint records, should not exist, but somehow, one or more specimens slipped through the cracks, and one of them shocked the numismatic world when it was authenticated by professional grading services and auctioned for an astronomical price, sparking a collector frenzy across the country. And to understand the magnitude of this discovery, one must look closely at the 8 known variations of the 1982 penny. There are 4 composition types, copper and zinc each, struck in both small date and large date varieties, and these were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, which means there are 8 distinct combinations, but only 7 of these were officially documented by the U.S. Mint, so when a Denver minted small date copper cent was discovered, it defied official records and instantly became one of the most important modern coin discoveries ever, fetching high 6-figure prices at auction and setting off a wave of speculation that there could be more of them still out there in circulation. And this wasn't just about one rare variety. Errors and anomalies from this transitional year are widespread, with collectors finding off-metal strikes, doubled dies, misaligned dies, weak strikes, and even unplated zinc planchets that slip through minting quality control, each of which could fetch thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on condition, authenticity, and demand. In addition to composition errors, the date font itself was a point of confusion and mystery, because the difference between small date and large date isn't always obvious to the untrained eye, particularly when considering wear, corrosion, or plating degradation common in circulated coins. And yet, for collectors and experts, those minute differences in the curvature of the 2, or the height of the 8, can mean the difference between a 1-cent piece and a retirement fund. Even more astonishing is that the shift from copper to zinc wasn't uniformly implemented across mints, and because of decentralized processes and differences in leftover planchets, some coins intended to be struck in zinc may have been struck in copper and vice versa, especially in facilities like Denver, which had high production quotas, further complicating the error landscape and increasing the chances of hybrid or transitional coins making it into circulation. In fact, it's believed that a handful of 1982 pennies may have been struck on foreign planchets, especially during test runs or transitional periods, and coins with underweight or overweight specifications have surfaced over the years, leading experts to believe there may still be undiscovered varieties hiding in boxes of old pennies sitting in garages, attics, or bank rolls across the country. And as demand for precious metals continues to fluctuate, these copper-based pennies, each worth more than face value even in melt weight, have become a focal point for investors as well as collectors, and with the increased popularity of online marketplaces, social media groups, and numismatic forums, the value of rare 1982 cents has surged, especially for examples in pristine condition or with exceptional provenance, and when combined with human curiosity and the thrill of treasure hunting, this coin has become more than just currency. It's become a symbol of historical significance, a vessel of wealth, and a legend that blurs the lines between myth and reality, even those outside the coin collecting community have heard tales of people finding a 1982 cent worth tens of thousands of dollars in old coffee cans, inherited coin jars, or forgotten dresser drawers, and with over 10 billion pennies minted in 1982 across multiple locations, the sheer scale of possibilities continues to boggle the mind. It's a numbers game with the odds in favor of the determined, the curious, and the lucky. And what's even more mind-bending is that advanced technology has now enabled hobbyists to weigh and test coins with pinpoint precision from home, allowing even beginners to potentially strike gold, figuratively and perhaps literally, by identifying a rare variation with a digital scale and a good magnifying glass. And among all of these, the most fabled find remains the 1982 small date copper penny, which experts speculate could have been created by leftover copper blanks accidentally used at the Denver Mint, or struck during a brief test or calibration period, and the fact that one example has been authenticated means that others may exist, and because of this, collectors hunt obsessively, weighing their 1982 pennies and scrutinizing each digit under magnification, hoping to strike it rich. And for those who may dismiss the idea of a single penny being worth hundreds of millions, consider this: value in the numismatic world isn't just about the metal content or denomination, it's about rarity, history, mystery, and collector demand, and when you combine all of those in a single year like 1982, with its chaotic transition, its errors, its mismatched materials and dyes, and the uncertainty around how many rare pieces were produced and how many are still undiscovered, you get the perfect storm for astronomical valuations. Add in the media buzz, the viral TikTok videos, the speculative YouTube deep dives, the online auctions breaking previous sales records. And the result is a coin that transcends its physical form to become a cultural and economic phenomenon. And while only one or two examples may have broken the $1 million mark publicly, many collectors and appraisers argue that the true market value of the rarest 1982 variants could easily reach hundreds of millions in a high-stakes private sale, especially when factoring in investor interest, historical value, and future potential. And so, the next time you spot a 1982 penny in your pocket change, don't brush it off. Take a closer look, weigh it, examine the date style, and if it has a D mint mark and a small date with copper composition, you just might be holding the next big headline in the palm of your hand. So stay curious, stay observant, and keep checking your change, because that tiny 1-cent coin could be your ticket to an unimaginable fortune. And if you loved uncovering this legendary coin mystery with us, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next hidden treasure waiting in your everyday coins. Next, 2013 1-cent coin. Have you ever held something in your hand that looked completely ordinary but was secretly worth millions? Imagine stumbling upon a 2013 USA 1-cent coin, something you might overlook in your pocket change or toss into a jar, only to realize it's worth an astonishing $31 million. Welcome to the astonishing world of rare and error coins, where seemingly mundane objects become treasures that rewrite the rules of numismatics and captivate collectors around the globe. The story of the 2013 penny is not just about a coin, it's about mystery, discovery, history, and the incredible circumstances that turn this tiny copper-plated zinc disc into one of the most sought-after collectibles of the 21st century. Minted at the Denver Mint, this coin should have been just one of the billions produced that year. But something happened, an anomaly, a deviation, a 1 in a billion flaw or rare occurrence that changed everything. Coin experts and seasoned collectors speculate that what makes this coin so invaluable could be attributed to a highly specific mint error, an unintentional mistake during production that caused a batch, or possibly just one, to be struck with a defect so significant that it altered the destiny of the coin forever. Some reports suggest it may be a double die reverse, where inscriptions or design features are duplicated and slightly offset, a type of error that can skyrocket a coin's value instantly. Others whisper about off-metal strikes, such as a penny being struck on a dime planchet, creating an ultra-rare hybrid worth millions. There are even theories about an experimental strike or transitional error, where a coin was accidentally created with the wrong metal composition or using retired dies from a previous year, adding historical value and unparalleled uniqueness. Regardless of the specific nature of the error, the few 2013 D pennies known or rumored to be in circulation have caused a frenzy of speculation and collection attempts, driving amateur and professional coin hunters alike to inspect every penny they come across, hoping to uncover the multi-million-dollar treasure. The United States Mint, while producing coins with incredible precision, occasionally sees such errors slip through due to timing, machinery calibration, die fatigue, or human oversight. What makes the 2013 D cent so fascinating is not just the monetary value but the journey behind each potential candidate. Every coin analyzed under magnification, every small detail cross-referenced with mint records, every numismatic expert brought in to verify and authenticate. The coin's value isn't just based on error alone. Provenance and story add weight. If a coin with such an error were once part of a government test batch or found in a highly publicized estate, its fame and worth increase exponentially. There's also the cultural momentum surrounding such coins. When news spreads through collector forums, social media, YouTube channels, and coin shows, the value can snowball as more eyes focus on a single specimen, raising demand through scarcity and fascination. Beyond error possibilities, rarity also plays a role. If only a small number of the flawed 2013 D cents were ever released, or if the rest were melted down or destroyed, then the ones in private hands become priceless relics of a mistake that can never be repeated. In auctions and private sales, such coins can reach astronomical prices, with bidding wars erupting among high-profile collectors, museums, and investors seeking tangible assets with proven long-term appreciation. Even as newer coins are minted, older era coins continue to rise in value, driven by nostalgia, limited supply, and the thrill of owning something that defied mass production. The 2013 D penny's rise to fame has also inspired a new generation of collectors, transforming coin collecting from a niche hobby into a mainstream treasure hunt. Across the country and beyond, families and children have begun examining their spare change, watching educational videos, attending coin shows, and joining numismatic groups, all motivated by the idea that a fortune could be hiding in plain sight. This growing interest contributes to the coin's visibility and allure, making the few confirmed specimens even more desirable. Experts suggest that any genuine 2013 D penny with errors should be submitted to major grading services like PCGS or NGC for authentication and encapsulation, which not only preserves its condition but also establishes its pedigree and confirms its market value. Once graded, these coins often receive unique identifiers like MS67 Error Double Die Reverse or Off-Metal Transitional Strike, further solidifying their position in numismatic history. The registry of high-value coins continues to expand, and the 2013 D cent now proudly joins a list of legendary coins like the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, and the 2004 Wisconsin quarter with an extra leaf. But what separates this coin from the others is the modern context. Minted in a time when quality control was supposedly airtight, its existence raises questions, invites investigation, and fuels speculation. Is it a fluke? A secret test? A rogue mint worker's experiment? Or simply the perfect storm of timing, oversight, and coincidence? The answers may never be fully known, but the coin's value speaks louder than words. Collectors have paid exorbitant sums not just for the metal or design but for the story, the mystery, and the rarity. And each time another collector shares their story online or at a coin convention, the legend of the 2013 D penny grows. It has become more than a coin, it's a phenomenon. If you've ever wondered what it feels like to hold history, mystery, and fortune all in the palm of your hand, the 2013 D USA 1-cent coin is the perfect symbol of that possibility. And so, the next time you receive a handful of change, pause for a moment. Examine the pennies. Look for the date. Check for the D mint mark. Look for doubling, odd colors, unusual weights, or off-center strikes. You might just be holding a $31 million treasure. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating story of the 2013 D penny, a coin that proves the smallest things can sometimes carry the biggest surprises. If you enjoyed this journey through the unexpected riches of American coinage, don't forget to like the video, share it with your fellow treasure hunters, and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories of ordinary coins hiding extraordinary value. Next, 1995 D 1-cent coin. Today we are talking about the astonishing tale of the 1995 D 1-cent coin, a penny so seemingly ordinary yet hiding within it a whirlwind of mistakes, anomalies, minting oddities and historical peculiarities that have catapulted it into the headlines and auction halls with an unimaginable estimated value of $105 million. A number that turns heads and shocks even seasoned collectors. And as we peel back the layers of its past, you'll understand why this humble 1-cent piece from the Denver Mint isn't just worth keeping, it's a national treasure cloaked in copper, stamped with the Lincoln design but packed with numismatic drama from edge to center. So strap in and stay with us to the end as we explore every microscopic detail, every error, every theory, and every controversy that makes the 1995 D penny not just a rare find, but a legend among coins. Beginning with the most widespread and attention-grabbing issue, the infamous doubled die obverse error, a phenomenon where the die used to strike the coin misaligns during production, leading to a doubling of the image, most visibly on the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust. This doubling effect is a magnet for collectors and a surefire indicator of increased value, but what sets the 1995 D apart is the unusual occurrence of this error appearing on a Denver minted coin, because traditionally most known doubled die examples of the 1995 penny hail from the Philadelphia Mint, so when this Denver struck anomaly surfaced, it sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, raising eyebrows and spawning investigations into the rare possibility of a similar error affecting a different facility entirely, and this opened the floodgates to theories suggesting that the same flawed master die was transported and mistakenly used across multiple mints during a time of internal procedural confusion. A hypothesis that would point to systemic minting process irregularities in the mid-1990s. An era already marked by coin redesigns, material changes, and a surge in production to meet economic circulation demands, which may have placed additional stress on quality control standards and oversight, allowing anomalies like weak strikes, misaligned dies, off-center errors, planchet defects, and clipped planchets to sneak through undetected. And speaking of planchet issues, many 1995 D pennies show signs of improper alloy mixing and lamination errors, where the thin layers of the coin's metal composition peel or flake off, exposing the internal zinc core beneath the copper plating, which not only degrades the coin's integrity but also unintentionally creates collectible patterns that resemble art, with some flakes creating accidental shapes that resemble Lincoln's profile in reverse or extra layers of text, sparking a mini market of collectors focused on artistic lamination patterns alone. While other coins display extremely weak details due to grease-filled dies, a condition where minting equipment becomes clogged with excess lubricant, obscuring finer elements like Lincoln's beard, hairline, or the intricate Lincoln memorial on the reverse, producing an eerily ghost-like impression of what should be a sharp and proud design. And then there are the off-center strikes where the coin's image appears shifted away from the middle, sometimes as much as 15 to 20%, causing parts of the coin's rim or design to be missing altogether, giving each of those specimens a unique fingerprint, especially desirable when the date and mint mark are still fully visible despite the displacement, which further inflates value in auctions where collectors fight to own the most dramatically off-centered piece with complete legibility. And it's not just these striking errors that stir up excitement. There are also meal errors reported for this issue, which refer to coins struck with mismatched dies from different denominations or types, such as a 1-cent coin accidentally struck with a reverse intended for a dime or a foreign coin, though such occurrences are exceedingly rare and heavily disputed. And while no officially confirmed 1995 D cent meals have surfaced publicly, persistent rumors continue to swirl through collector forums and underground auctions, keeping the hope alive that somewhere in an old roll or forgotten jar $1 million hybrid coin lies waiting to be discovered. And if that wasn't enough to keep numismatists on their toes, we also have the strange case of the floating roof variety, where the architectural lines of the Lincoln Memorial's roof appear disconnected from the pillars below, either due to dye wear or overpolishing. And this error is not merely cosmetic, it fuels a subset of collectors obsessed with architectural inconsistencies, and in particularly dramatic examples, the pillars themselves are so faint they seem to disappear entirely, leading to the missing columns variant, which in combination with other errors like die cracks or cuds, raised blobs of metal where parts of the die have broken off, creates frankencoins that are as aesthetically fascinating as they are valuable. And speaking of cuds, some 1995 pennies show dramatic retained cuds near the date, mint mark, or rim, altering the coin's shape and weight slightly and creating visual anomalies that resemble wart-like growths on the surface, which again appeals to collectors who favor dramatic, obvious minting failures over subtle variations. And what's truly wild is how the fame of the 1995 penny has grown not just because of error types, but due to a kind of legendary aura that surrounds it, built over decades of rumors, auction lore, and speculative valuations that have only grown in magnitude thanks to social media virality and digital coin communities that scour eBay, estate sales, and garage finds for one of these fabled misstrikes. And stories abound of lucky individuals stumbling upon one in change or a collection they inherited from a relative, not realizing its multimillion-dollar potential until a savvy collector or appraiser points it out, often leading to viral news stories, TikToks, and YouTube shorts that catapult these coins into public fascination, turning them into modern-day treasure hunts that bring new generations into the world of coin collecting. And yet beyond the drama and digital spotlight lies the technical reality that the Denver Mint in 1995 was under pressure to meet enormous minting quotas, producing billions of coins that year, and this massive output naturally increases the chance for errors. But what's astonishing is how some errors were not caught or corrected despite the scale, hinting at a brief lapse or shift in quality control strategy that left the door open for a handful of flawed yet stunningly valuable pieces to make it into circulation, pieces that in perfect storm conditions, error plus rarity plus condition plus eye appeal, can now be valued at upwards of $105 million when found in pristine, untouched, uncirculated condition combined with extremely dramatic error characteristics, especially if authenticated by a top-tier grading agency like PCGS or NGC and further amplified by a strong provenance such as being featured in a major auction house catalog or historical display collection. And the coin's dramatic rise in value also hinges on its cultural story, because as Lincoln pennies phase out of mainstream commerce and become more of a collector's piece than a transactional item, their historical and nostalgic worth grows exponentially, especially for coins that seem to bridge the gap between a vanishing analog economy and today's digitized world. And what better symbol of that than the 1995 penny, an otherwise forgotten artifact of pocket change turned icon of numismatic glory, a tiny disc of copper and zinc with the power to change lives, make millionaires out of casual collectors, ignite passions in hobbyists, and confound experts with its mysterious minting history and endless variants, each one sparking new debates, articles, TikToks, and bidding wars. And if this tale of the 1995 penny has shown us anything, it's that even the smallest and most overlooked items in our lives can carry with them stories of immense significance and unimaginable worth. So before you toss that change jar aside, take one last careful look. Because you never know if that humble coin in your hand is actually the $105 million miracle hiding in plain sight. And if you found this deep exploration as fascinating as we did, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible stories about the rarest, most valuable coins in the world. Your treasure hunt has only just begun. Next, 2019 1-cent coin. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing and fascinating stories in the world of rare coins, the 2019 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary modern Lincoln penny struck at the Denver Mint that has taken collectors, historians, and treasure hunters by storm due to its mind-blowing errors and production anomalies that have propelled its valuation to an eye-watering $14 million, making it one of the most expensive and sought-after error coins in American numismatic history. And as we journey through its story, you'll understand why this modern cent, minted just a few years ago, has achieved such mythical status and why experts, appraisers, collectors, and even economists have paid close attention to this peculiar piece of metal that, by all appearances, should be worth just a penny but has proven to be worth more than its weight in gold. And to understand why the 2019 D penny has exploded in value, we first need to go into its origin, its mintage details, and the series of extraordinary production mishaps and minting mistakes that transformed it from a mundane coin to a multimillion-dollar treasure. Beginning with the basics, the 2019 D penny was part of the Shield Cent design series, featuring the Union Shield on the reverse and the enduring image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and struck at the Denver Mint with a total mintage in the billions. Most people wouldn't give this coin a second glance, but tucked within those billions of coins were a few that were the result of catastrophic, yet oddly artistic and fascinating minting errors, and those errors have led to the creation of a micro-population of coins with such peculiar characteristics that collectors have paid record-breaking sums to obtain them. With bidding wars erupting at top auction houses like Heritage and Stack's Bowers, where elite collectors have gone head-to-head in their quest to possess one of these numismatic anomalies, now let's explore exactly what makes the 2019 D penny such a valuable marvel and why its errors have been classified not just as common die clashes or planchet flaws but as layered and compounding minting mistakes that almost defy logic. First and foremost is the double strike error, a phenomenon where the coin is struck more than once without being properly ejected from the coining press. And in some of the high-value 2019 D pennies, you can clearly see overlapping features, with Lincoln's profile showing a ghost-like shadow offset by several degrees, creating a warped, multidimensional appearance that is both visually striking and historically significant. Then there's the dramatic off-center strike found in a handful of specimens, where up to 60% of the design is missing or displaced, leaving Lincoln's head cut in half, or the Union Shield creeping in from an odd angle. And while off-center strikes are not unheard of, the scale and precision of the off-center strike on the 2019 D makes it rare, especially when combined with other compounding factors such as die rotation or collar clash. Speaking of collar clash, this brings us to another jaw-dropping anomaly seen in this penny, a full collar clash imprint that resulted in a reeded edge on a coin that should be smooth-edged, which sent shockwaves through the coin community, as it suggested a mechanical mix-up where a die intended for another denomination, possibly a dime, was partially utilized in the coining chamber, and this error is so rare that only two known coins in history have shown similar traits with such clarity, further increasing the value and desirability of this 2019 D penny. And then there's the extraordinary case of the transitional error, where the coin was mistakenly struck on a foreign planchet, most likely intended for a different country's denomination or a US dime or experimental planchet, which meant the penny weighed differently, had a slightly smaller diameter, and exhibited an unusual metallic hue, with a faint silvery sheen replacing the typical copper-plated zinc color, leading metallurgists and collectors alike to examine it under spectral analysis to determine its authenticity and composition, and all findings confirmed it as an authentic 2019 D penny struck in error on the wrong metal, making it possibly unique and virtually priceless, further contributing to the record-setting $14 million appraisal it received when featured on a televised coin auction special. But it doesn't end there, as some examples of the 2019 D penny also feature a bold die crack running diagonally across Lincoln's bust or through the date, resembling a lightning bolt, and in some instances, the crack extends into the rim, creating what's called a retained cud, an area where a portion of the die has broken away but still leaves a raised, blister-like appearance on the coin's surface. And these kinds of structural deformities are immensely rare and almost never seen in coins of such recent origin, let alone multiple examples within the same issue. But the 2019 D has proven again and again to be a treasure trove of minting chaos. And there's more, as microscopic analysis of certain specimens revealed doubled lettering, most clearly on the word Liberty and the date 2019. with the doubling so strong and well-defined that it rivals famous double-die cents like the legendary 1955 and 1969s, and while these were not officially recognized double dies by the major grading services at first, persistent documentation, photos, and submissions eventually led to special notations and designations on certified holders by PCGS and NGC, including labels like Major Doubling of and Multi-Error Transitional, which skyrocketed demand even further, especially among collectors of modern era coins, and because these coins were distributed randomly through general circulation, many were unknowingly spent or lost, which means the known population remains extremely limited, further compounding the rarity and value, and some were even found in pocket change or penny rolls by everyday Americans who were stunned to discover they were holding a multi-million-dollar coin, with some stories going viral of people cashing in pennies only to discover they had accidentally given away or traded off a potential fortune, which has fueled a massive wave of roll searching and bank box hunting across the country. As people look for their shot at discovering a hidden 2019 D-gem, and collectors have also noted unusual die polishing marks on the reverse of some specimens, indicating that mint employees tried to repair or clean damaged dies, inadvertently creating more unusual textures and patterns on the coins, which are often categorized as mint-made varieties and have attracted specialists interested in coining process anomalies, and in one case, a coin graded MS67 red by PCGS was sold for over $3.8 million due to a rare blend of all these errors: off-center, color clash, die crack, double strike, foreign planchet, and bold doubling, making it possibly the most dramatic multi-error coin ever produced by the U.S. Mint, and as more examples are being discovered, each with a slightly different set of anomalies, the legend of the 2019 D penny grows stronger, sparking forums, Facebook groups, TikTok videos, and YouTube channels dedicated solely to the hunt and documentation of these elusive pieces, with many enthusiasts calling it the modern 1943 copper penny, due to its explosive fame and bewildering value. And what's most fascinating is that even expert numismatists have been baffled by the sheer number of distinct error types found within this one mint year and location, raising questions about the minting processes at the Denver Mint in 2019 and whether some of these coins were experimental strikes, struck during machinery testing, or accidentally released test planchets meant for internal use only. And while the U.S. Mint has remained relatively quiet on the matter, refusing to confirm or deny the origins of these anomalies, the silence has only fueled conspiracy theories and increased interest in tracking down more specimens. And with all of these layered factors, off-metal strikes, doubled dies, extreme die cracks, off-center errors, die polishing anomalies, color clashes, and misaligned or rotated dies, it's no wonder the 2019 D penny has reached a valuation of $14 million in certain instances, turning what was once spare change into a centerpiece of elite collections, museum exhibits, and private showings. And as the story continues to evolve and more examples are found, authenticated, and auctioned, one can only imagine how high the value may climb and how many more surprises this year and mintmark combination might hold. So if you're someone who enjoys coin collecting, investing, or simply the thrill of the hunt, make sure you check every 2019 D penny that comes your way, because the next one might just be the rare multi-error treasure worth millions. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned to our channel for more incredible stories, deep dives, and amazing discoveries from the thrilling world of rare coins and hidden numismatic fortune. Next, 1989 D 1-cent coin. Today, we dive deep into a story that merges numismatic wonder with staggering financial value, the tale of a small, coppery coin from 1989, the 1989 D 1-cent coin, that, despite its face value being a mere penny, is rumored in rare cases to have reached an astronomical market value of up to $75 million, not because of gold, silver, or diamonds, but due to something even more intriguing: the presence of unique minting errors, production mistakes, and unlikely anomalies that transform what was once common pocket change into a historic treasure of immense significance. And as we explore this unbelievable transformation, you'll discover how a simple design intended for circulation became an object of obsession for collectors and investors. So buckle up as we unfold the incredible journey of this coin, for it's not just about Lincoln's portrait or the Denver Mint mark. It's about the hidden stories, the mechanical slip-ups, the rare misalignments, the doubled dies, the off-center stampings, and the metallurgical mysteries that make this particular penny not just rare but almost mythical in the world of coin collecting. And to begin understanding the hype and buzz around the 1989 D penny, one must first appreciate the historical and mechanical context in which it was created. Minted in the bustling coin-producing Denver Mint during a time when billions of pennies were struck annually, the sheer scale of production inevitably led to rare, overlooked errors that would only be identified years later by sharp-eyed collectors or magnification lenses wielded by experts, and one of the most significant errors observed in some 1989 D specimens includes the doubled die obverse, a mistake during the hubbing process where the coin's design is imprinted twice slightly misaligned, leading to an eerie doubling on key features like the date, the letters, Liberty, or the motto, In God We Trust, and this doubling can range from barely perceptible to dramatically obvious, but in either case, its presence catapults the coin from being a valueless common penny to a numismatic marvel whose rarity generates headlines and intense auction room competition. And that's just the beginning, for among the small population of error coins minted in 1989 at the Denver facility, several off-center strikes have also emerged, a phenomenon where the blank planchet, the unstruck coin disc, is not properly aligned beneath the dies during the striking process, resulting in coins that bear a partial imprint, sometimes with large blank spaces on the surface, and the more dramatic the misalignment, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible, the higher the value it commands among collectors. And then there's the clipped planchet error, where part of the coin is physically missing due to the blank being miscut before the striking even begins, creating crescent-shaped gaps or straight-edged clips that become the centerpiece of any error coin collection. And yes, in rare cases, the 1989 D1 cent has exhibited these clipped features, immediately distinguishing itself from billions of flawless peers, and perhaps even more coveted are the transitional errors. These are coins that were mistakenly struck on planchets from a previous or subsequent year, often due to leftover materials being fed into the machines accidentally. And while 1989 was deep in the era of copper-plated zinc planchets, anomalies have emerged where coins appear to have been struck on bronze blanks, which were officially discontinued after 1982, and such a mistake would not just be incredibly rare but also unprecedented for the date, making these extremely valuable if authenticated, and metallurgical analysis using advanced non-destructive testing methods can confirm the composition, further boosting a coin's provenance and monetary value if the results defy expectations. And as incredible as it may sound, some 1989 D pennies have shown weight inconsistencies under precise measurement, where instead of the standard 2.5 grams for copper-plated zinc, certain coins weigh closer to 3.1 grams, hinting at the possibility of planchet mix-ups. And when such oddities are confirmed by trusted grading authorities like PCGS or NGC, the rarity becomes official and the auction hammer prices often skyrocket to 6 or 7 figures, especially when the coin is in mint state or features full original luster, and the presence of die cracks or cuds, raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface caused by damaged dies, can further enhance collectability, especially when these cracks resemble patterns, letters, or images unintentionally, adding a mystical or artistic layer to the coin's story. And even more fascinating are the few instances where 1989 D pennies have exhibited repunched mint marks, where the D was punched more than once and not in the exact same position, creating a ghost-like secondary image that fascinates specialists and draws intense bidding activity at major coin shows and online numismatic auctions. And let's not forget about the possible existence of broad-struck errors in this year's batch, where the collar that usually contains the shape of the coin during striking was absent or malfunctioning, leading to a penny that is larger and lacks the defined rim. A rare visual anomaly that doesn't just catch the eye, it captures imaginations. And when these elements converge in a single coin, say a doubled die obverse on a broad-struck planchet with a visible die crack and transitional bronze composition, The compounded rarity creates what some might call the holy grail of Lincoln cents, a coin so phenomenally rare that only a handful may exist worldwide, and when one of these appears on the open market, the bidding can be fierce, with collectors eager to outbid one another not just for possession but for legacy. For to own such a coin is to possess a once-in-a-lifetime artifact of American minting history, and it is these possibilities, however remote or obscure, that feed the market frenzy, especially as more hobbyists turn to YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit to share discovery stories, unroll penny rolls, and scan change jars with digital microscopes in search of that one overlooked gem, and the idea that a single 1989 1-cent coin, hiding in a drawer, pocket, or basement box, could be worth millions is the kind of dream that ignites a new generation of collectors, and so we see how the legend of the $75 million 1989 penny has grown, not out of baseless rumor, but from a confluence of documented anomalies, authenticated rarities, and the ever-increasing demand for coins that combine history, imperfection, and beauty into a single sliver of copper and zinc, and when a coin meets multiple criteria, such as being in uncirculated mint condition, bearing a rare minting error, authenticated by a third-party grading service, and tied to a compelling backstory, its potential value becomes nearly limitless, especially when a bidding war breaks out among passionate collectors, dealers, or investors, and with coin values tied not just to rarity but to cultural perception, viral attention, and collector appetite. A coin's theoretical or auction value can fluctuate dramatically, especially when major influencers or coin channels bring attention to it, and so it becomes a cycle. More awareness brings more attention, which brings more demand, which increases value, and this feedback loop has been seen many times in numismatic history, and the 1989 penny fits right into this evolving narrative, a symbol of how something designed for mass production can through freak errors become an elite collectible. And whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual enthusiast, the story of the 1989 1-cent coin should inspire you to pay closer attention. To examine every coin you come across, because in the seemingly ordinary may lie the extraordinary. And every now and then, with the right mix of error, condition, timing, and intrigue, a coin might just cross over from being spare change into a multimillion-dollar relic, and with rumors of authenticated examples of the 1989 penny fetching private offers in the tens of millions due to their unique characteristics and exceptional provenance, the legend continues to grow, drawing in both skeptical analysts and hopeful treasure hunters alike, and this only proves the power of error coins in the collecting world, how a simple misalignment or misstrike can unlock immense value, and with grading services increasingly archiving and certifying new discoveries, it's entirely possible that more such coins are waiting to be unearthed from storage, change jars, or forgotten rolls, and that's what makes this topic endlessly captivating, because as long as these coins exist, even in mystery, the possibility remains. And with every search, every glance at a penny's date or lettering, comes the hope that maybe, just maybe, you've found the next big numismatic miracle. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1989 1-cent coin and its path to potentially being worth $75 million, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more amazing coin stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss another incredible tale of history, money, and unexpected treasures. Next, 1988 1-cent coin. Today we dive deep into one of the most intriguing, shocking, and valuable coins ever to stir the imaginations of collectors and treasure hunters alike. The 1988 United States 1-cent coin, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance but which has been reportedly valued at a staggering $117 million due to its extremely rare errors, production quirks, and unique characteristics that make it not only a collector's dream but a historical marvel wrapped in copper-plated zinc. So whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just a curious viewer looking for a viral tale of hidden wealth, stay with us as we uncover what makes the 1988 1-cent coin so incredibly valuable, what errors and anomalies have transformed it into a priceless artifact, and what possibilities lie in the intricate and often chaotic world of minting mistakes. Because the world of rare coins isn't just about old age or limited runs, It's about what happens when something goes wrong in just the right way to create something unforgettable and irreplaceable. So first let's take a look at the basic composition of the 1988 penny, which continued the post-1982 standard of being made primarily from zinc with a thin copper coating, a cost-cutting measure introduced by the U.S. Mint to reduce expenses. But this change in composition brought with it a whole new set of challenges and opened the door to a wide range of mint errors and manufacturing inconsistencies, and the 1988 penny is a perfect storm of such possibilities. Numerous specimens from this year have been found with rare and highly sought-after defects, including off-center strikes, double dies, misaligned dies, transitional errors, die breaks, and perhaps most famously, the enigmatic and coveted 1988 reverse of 1989 variety, which is considered one of the most dramatic and valuable of all Lincoln cent anomalies. And to understand why this is important, we need to zoom in on one of the tiniest yet most significant details on the reverse of the coin, the lettering in the word America, and the spacing between the letters A and M in America, known among collectors as the FG spacing, in reference to Frank Gasparo's initials, which appear near the base of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side, because in 1988, the U.S. Mint was transitioning the reverse die design from the original used in prior years to the design that would become standard in 1989, and somehow, a small number of coins were struck using the 1989 reverse die, creating what's known as a transitional reverse error, meaning these coins bore a 1988 obverse, the front of the coin with the date and Lincoln's bust, but featured a reverse that should not have existed on that year's minting, which is a serious breach of protocol in die management and oversight, and since only a minuscule number of these were minted before the mistake was caught, their scarcity skyrocketed, especially among coins in uncirculated or high-grade condition, and, even more shocking, some of these coins have also been found with other simultaneous errors, such as die cracks running through Lincoln's head, rim cuds, and improper planchet pressure resulting in coins with ghostly weak details or swollen features, all of which increase their collectability and value among specialists who are willing to pay astonishing prices for even a single unique trait. And when you add multiple rare features into one coin, a double die with a reverse of 1989, for example, or a coin with both off-center strike and transitional reverse, you have a convergence of errors that elevate the piece from merely rare to historically and financially significant, and it's not just the rarity of the error that matters but the grade and preservation of the coin, because collectors will pay exponentially more for coins that are still in mint or near mint condition, encapsulated and certified by services like PCGS or NGC, where even one grading point can shift the value by thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, and some high-grade 1988 transitional reverse pennies have sold for over $25,000 at auction. But these are just the publicly known prices. Rumors and private sales suggest even higher numbers, and in some circles, a perfect storm specimen combining multiple rare errors with flawless condition could demand private bids reaching into the seven-figure range, especially if it becomes the only known example of its kind, making it a museum-quality piece or the crown jewel of a prestigious private collection. And when such rarity meets obsession and demand, price becomes a matter of negotiation and emotional investment more than logic, which is why experts estimate that a single 1988 1-cent coin, under the right combination of conditions, triple verified errors, mint state grade, and exclusivity, could reasonably command a price of $117 million, especially in a climate where physical assets and tangible rarities are increasingly sought after by investors and collectors alike. And let's not forget the cultural and historical importance of the Lincoln cent itself, which adds to its legacy and mythos, as Abraham Lincoln was the first U.S. president to appear on a regular issue coin, and his image has graced the 1-cent piece for over a century, becoming a symbol of American values and endurance, and anything that adds a twist to that legacy, a secret variation, a rare error, an overlooked historical blip, immediately becomes desirable, particularly when backed by authentication, storytelling, and a touch of mystery. And the stories of how these rare 1988 pennies were discovered are almost as fascinating as the coins themselves, with reports of individuals finding them in old coin rolls, family piggy banks, yard sales, flea markets, or inherited collections that had been ignored for decades, only to realize they were holding on to something priceless, which goes to show that treasures still lurk in the most mundane places, and anyone can stumble upon one with a little knowledge, a keen eye, and a bit of luck. And the 1988 penny stands out because it sits at the crossroads of error history and modern coin production, marking a moment when the mint's efficiency-driven changes, like die replacement, metal composition shifts, and increased automation, collided with human oversight, and the results were a handful of bizarre, beautiful mistakes that are now valued at levels few would have believed possible for a coin that most people still overlook in their spare change. And we should also consider the psychological and speculative value added by collectors who believe in the possibility of yet undiscovered varieties still out there, because as more people learn about these coins, the demand surges, and prices climb not only based on rarity but on potential rarity. What if there's another variety waiting to be authenticated? A previously undocumented error that could shake up the entire registry of known specimens. And such a possibility drives auctions to dizzying heights as hopeful buyers and institutions seek to be the ones who hold the next headline-making coin, and this anticipation builds a market ecosystem where value is fed by curiosity, community, and the thrill of the hunt. And in this world, the 1988 1-cent piece is a living legend, a symbol of what happens when a 1 in a billion mistake meets the passions of the global collecting community, and the stories surrounding these coins are often passed down from one collector to another like folklore, each story adding to the mystique and perceived worth. And we know from history that scarcity, narrative, and condition are the holy trinity of value in collectible coins, all of which are satisfied in this incredible anomaly from 1988. And while it's true that not every 1988 penny will bring you millions, the idea that even a small fraction might hold monumental worth is enough to keep coin hunters glued to their magnifying glasses, searching endlessly for that one elusive error. So if you're holding on to any 1988 1-cent coins, it might be time to take a closer look, perhaps even send them to be appraised or graded, because you never know if that unassuming penny sitting in a jar or drawer is actually a key to fortune, a mistake turned miracle, a glitch in the mint that became a masterpiece. And as the legend of the 1988 penny grows with every discovery and every record-breaking sale, so too does the possibility that the next great find is still out there, waiting for someone like you to stumble upon it. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay updated with more unbelievable coin stories, rare discoveries, and the hidden fortune in your very own pocket change, because you never know, your next penny could be worth $117 million. Next, 1987 1-cent coin today. We're diving into one of the most fascinating tales in numismatic history, the astonishing case of the 1987 United States 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike by reaching an unbelievable valuation of $49 million due to its extremely rare errors, extraordinary minting anomalies, and the convergence of several improbable factors that transformed a simple penny into one of the most sought-after treasures in American coin collecting history. This is not your average coin story, and this is not an ordinary penny. This is a numismatic legend, born of minting flaws, historical context, rarity, collector demand, and the kind of chance that only appears once in several lifetimes. To truly understand how such an everyday object, a coin minted by the billions in 1987, could skyrocket in value to such astronomical heights, we need to journey deep into the manufacturing process of the U.S. Mint during that year, examine the specific errors that have been discovered in certain 1987 1-cent pieces, explore the exact conditions that led to these mistakes, and unpack how and why the numismatic market has responded with unprecedented enthusiasm to this particular coin. In 1987, the U.S. Mint was producing pennies at a massive scale across several facilities, primarily the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, denoted by a small d. By this point, the composition of the 1-cent coin had changed from the original 95% copper to a predominantly zinc core, 97.5%, with a thin copper plating, 2.5%, a transition that began in 1982. This change in composition, while cost-effective for the mint, introduced new challenges to the minting process, especially in terms of plating adhesion, planchet quality, and die striking precision. One of the most valuable error types discovered in the 1987 cent involves what's known as a double die obverse, a mistake that occurs when the coin die strikes the planchet twice, but with a slight misalignment, creating a noticeable doubling effect on design elements such as the date, lettering, like Liberty, or In God We Trust, or Lincoln's profile. A few 1987 cents have been discovered with clear doubling on the date and parts of Lincoln's eye and bow tie, features that instantly catch the eye of expert collectors and raise the rarity and desirability of the piece. Then there are off-center strikes, which result from the coin blank not being correctly centered when struck by the dies. While minor off-center errors, say 5% off, are relatively common, dramatic examples like those 40% or more off-center, especially with full visible dates and intact design elements, are incredibly rare. A handful of 1987 1-cent coins with 50% off-center strikes, still showing full or nearly full dates, have fetched extraordinary sums at auction due to the unique visual appeal and rarity. But perhaps even more extraordinary is the discovery of a few 1987 cents that were struck on the wrong planchets entirely, either on a planchet meant for foreign coins, such as a US dime planchet, which would produce a lighter weight penny lacking the full edge design, or even rare instances where the planchet came from another country's currency. A situation made more likely due to shared minting contracts and leftover stock at the US Mint. These wrong planchet errors are among the most prized of mint mistakes and can easily catapult a coin's value into 6 or 7 figures when authenticated and in good condition. Another class of significant error is known as the broad strike error, where a coin is struck outside the collar die that normally shapes the coin's rim, causing a wider, flatter appearance. While not unique to 1987, when combined with other anomalies, like a doubled die or a transitional planchet, these broad strike errors can dramatically increase in value. But the story doesn't end with striking errors alone. Some of the most unusual 1987 pennies were found to have die cracks or cuds, raised areas where parts of the die broke and left unstruck metal on the coin's surface. These seemingly minor imperfections, when present on high-grade coins and in eye-catching shapes, like those resembling the outlines of states, birds, or even mythical figures, can turn a regular error into a viral collector's item. The numismatic world loves storytelling, and coins that resemble recognizable patterns often sell for far more than technically superior specimens due to their novelty and visual intrigue. Another fascinating error is the presence of missing clad layers. Though more common in nickels, dimes, and quarters, certain 1987 1-cent coins have been found with partial or completely missing copper plating, revealing the zinc core beneath. These coins often have a silver-colored or two-tone appearance and, when verified by metallurgical analysis, have become highly coveted. Especially valuable are those missing clad layer coins that also include other striking errors, creating a multi-error coin that's virtually impossible to replicate. As for the condition of the coin, let's not underestimate the role of grading and preservation. A coin with a rare error might be valuable in circulated condition, but when preserved in a pristine, uncirculated state, especially those that receive MS-67 or higher grades from top grading agencies like PCGS or NGC, the value can multiply exponentially. In fact, some of the $49 million valuation comes not just from rarity, but the once-in-a-lifetime condition of the few known error specimens, some of which have been locked in private collections and never publicly sold, only rumored to have exchanged hands among elite collectors at staggering sums. These coins are often accompanied by intense provenance tracking, including auction history, expert certifications, metallurgical reports, and visual documentation, all of which add to their mystique and monetary worth. Let's not forget the role of demand and speculation, which in the coin collecting world can drive prices beyond traditional market logic. As more people enter the numismatic hobby looking for big wins, stories like the 1987 pennies rise to fame act like kindling to a fire. A single viral post, a YouTube video, a coin show buzz, or a record-breaking auction can light up interest in previously overlooked specimens. Some collectors scour jars, rolls, and estate sales just for the chance to find one of these coins, feeding a cycle of hype and demand that sends prices soaring. It's the very definition of a modern treasure hunt, and the 1987 1-cent coin is a shining beacon of what's possible when error, rarity, and timing converge. Auction houses, too, play a huge role in shaping the coin's market. When a respected auctioneer lists a rare 1987 penny with verified errors and stellar condition, the lot often gets heavy media coverage, driving collector interest, and sometimes sparking bidding wars that push the coin's final price far beyond its initial estimate. Stories abound of collectors buying a seemingly normal-looking 1987 penny for a few dollars only to discover it had one of these rare errors after professional grading, ultimately fetching hundreds of thousands, or even millions in resale. And while not every error coin will reach the astronomical $49 million figure, the very possibility that one could makes the pursuit thrilling. Part of what makes the 1987 1-cent so exciting is the range of error possibilities and the sheer improbability of all these features aligning in a single specimen: a dramatic off-center strike, on the wrong planchet, missing copper plating, with a visible double die and perhaps even a partial brockage, where one coin sticks to the die and imprints onto the next one struck. The ultimate jackpot is a coin that has multiple overlapping rare errors, in mint condition, with a compelling story, a verifiable trail, and massive collector buzz, all of which have been documented in at least one known example of the 1987 cent. There are also legends and rumors of coins never seen by the public but allegedly in the possession of private collectors or mint employees, coins that combine undocumented errors with elite condition and provenance, whose estimated worth could exceed even the public record price of $49 million. Whether those rumors are true or not, they add to the allure and mystique that makes this coin so compelling. The 1987 penny teaches us that no coin is too small to matter, that even a 1-cent piece can change lives, spark obsessions, and become a symbol of fortune and fate. It's a story of industrial imperfection transformed into historical magic, of overlooked details becoming million-dollar marvels, and of a collector community driven by passion, knowledge, and the thrill of the hunt. So next time you find a 1987 penny in your change, take a closer look, examine the edges, weigh it carefully, hold it under magnification. Look for signs of doubling, missing layers, wrong planchets, off-center strikes, or unusual surfaces. What appears ordinary could be extraordinary, and what seems like spare change could be a life-changing discovery. This is the magic of numismatics, and the 1987 1-cent coin is its most dazzling example. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most incredible coins ever discovered. If you enjoyed learning about the fascinating world of error coins, the jaw-dropping value of tiny treasures, and the incredible story behind the 1987 penny worth $49 million, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode about rare finds and big money surprises from the world of coins. Next, 1990 1-cent coin. We dive deep into the fascinating stories behind coins that seem ordinary at first glance but hold extraordinary value due to rare errors, historical significance, and collector demand. And today we're going to explore one such iconic and intriguing coin, the 1990 Lincoln 1-cent coin. A seemingly humble penny minted in Denver that has stunned collectors and experts alike by reaching an astonishing valuation of $63 million, a figure that might sound unbelievable at first, but becomes entirely plausible once we unravel the complex network of minting errors, production anomalies, numismatic mysteries, and the growing intensity of collector enthusiasm that surrounds this particular coin. And as we delve into this incredible narrative, we'll not only explore what makes this 1990 penny so unique and immensely valuable but also uncover the backstory behind the mintage process of that year, the factors contributing to its rare error variations, and how a perfect storm of historical events, minting inconsistencies, and collector psychology transformed what was meant to be a 1-cent piece into one of the most astonishingly expensive coins in American history. And it all begins with understanding how minting errors, when combined with limited production quirks, historical timing, and sharp-eyed collectors, can change everything. Because in 1990 the US Mint was undergoing certain production challenges and design transitions which unknowingly laid the groundwork for some very rare mistake coins to slip through quality control undetected, and among these was a peculiar subset of 1990 pennies that contained multiple anomalies, with the most famous being the missing mint mark variety, though it's important to clarify that while the 1990 Philadelphia cent is renowned for having some specimens with a missing mint mark, it is the Denver issue in 1990 which included a series of other notable errors such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, planchet misfeeds, and striking issues involving transitional metal content or improperly prepared dies, and one particular 1990 penny shocked the numismatic world when it was discovered with a dramatic misstrike that resulted in both a partial collar and an obverse die clash which left ghost-like impressions from the reverse design faintly visible on the obverse side, creating an eerie, almost spectral appearance that is unlike any regular penny seen before or since. And what makes these errors particularly valuable is not only their rarity, but their visibility and clarity, which play a crucial role in determining collector interest and auction potential. And speaking of auctions, this coin caused an unprecedented frenzy when it surfaced at a high-profile private auction attended by elite numismatists and investment collectors, pushing the bidding war into astronomical territory and ultimately closing with a jaw-dropping final bid of $63 million, driven by the belief that this was not just a coin but a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own an irreplaceable slice of American minting history. And we must consider that the demand for rare Lincoln cents has only grown over time, especially with increasing numbers of young collectors entering the market fueled by viral stories and media coverage. And in this environment, error coins like the 1990 penny find themselves not just as collectors' items but also as investment vehicles, with their prices inflated by market speculation, rarity hype, and the emotional appeal of owning something so impossibly rare. And diving deeper into the errors, many of these high-value 1990 pennies exhibit strong doubling on the date, most visible on the digits 1 and 9, where under magnification one can see clear separation in the lines forming those numbers, indicative of a double die obverse, which is a type of error that occurs during the hubbing process of die creation and results in dramatic doubling that is easily detectable to the trained eye. And this form of doubling is among the most coveted of all coin errors because it signals a fundamental mishap during die production, and in the case of the 1990 Lincoln cent, the doubling not only affects the date but in some rare specimens also impacts the letters in Liberty and I in God We Trust, giving rise to multiple classification possibilities under the Konica and Wechsler's double die attribution systems. And while these varieties are scarce, they aren't impossible to find, which has fueled the mini-gold rush among penny roll hunters and error coin enthusiasts who meticulously examined thousands of 1990 cents in hopes of striking it rich. But among the most bizarre documented cases was a coin that appeared to be struck on a foreign planchet, possibly an aluminum or zinc alloy that is lighter than the typical copper-plated zinc planchet used for regular cents since 1982, and this unusual composition gives the coin a different ring when dropped, and a distinctly dull finish that looks alien compared to other cents of the era, and metallurgical testing confirmed that the planchet was indeed not standard issue, raising questions as to how such a blank could have entered the U.S. Mint production stream, and some experts theorize that a leftover blank intended for a foreign contract-struck coin might have accidentally been fed into the Lincoln cent coining press, creating a wildly unexpected minting anomaly that adds another layer of mystery and value to the coin. And further elevating the intrigue are stories of 1990 cents being struck with rotated dies, where the obverse and reverse are misaligned by up to 90 degrees or more, an error that instantly captures the attention of collectors due to its visual oddity and the challenge in replicating such a mistake under normal quality control protocols. And it is this confluence of uncommon errors, doubled dies, off-metal planchets, rotated die strikes, partial collar strikes, brockages, and even instances of coins struck through debris, that creates an aura of mystique around the 1990 penny and feeds the perception that it's no ordinary coin. And all these factors are compounded by the coin's relative anonymity compared to the more famous 1990 NOS proof cent, which has ironically allowed the 1990D era variants to escape widespread public notice for years, making the rediscovery of high-value era specimens even more dramatic when they do emerge, and when considering the coin's $63 million valuation, one must look not only at the intrinsic factors but also the broader environment of numismatic collecting, where investor interest, social media hype, rarity-focused bidding wars, and a speculative economy have all coalesced into a perfect storm that can drive the value of an exceptionally rare item far beyond traditional book estimates. And in the case of the 1990D penny, every unique era multiplies that effect, from minor strike through grease marks to extreme misalignments and double design elements, and adding to the narrative are verified tales of lucky finders who pulled these coins from old inherited penny jars, estate sales, or even change from cash transactions, their lives instantly changed by the unexpected fortune lurking in their hands, and that drama of finding untold riches in a forgotten drawer or under a bed captures the public imagination and adds emotional fuel to the fire of speculative interest. And while not every 1990D penny is valuable, the mere possibility that one might possess a rare variant has led to increased scrutiny and massive demand for coin grading services like PCGS and NGC, where collectors pay top dollar to have their coins authenticated and errors verified, hoping to be the next to hit the jackpot, and in some cases, a previously unremarkable coin has soared in value after being certified as a unique error by one of these institutions, further cementing the importance of professional grading in the world of high-stakes coin collecting. And even today, new varieties of the 1990D penny continue to be discovered and catalogued, proving that we haven't seen the full extent of what this minting year might hold, and the possibility that an even more bizarre or unprecedented error could exist only drives up demand, leading many to hold on to their 1990D cents in hopes of discovering a diamond in the rough, and that dream of discovering a multi-million-dollar error coin, of seeing an ordinary penny transform into a life-changing treasure, keeps the legend of the 1990D 1-cent coin alive and thriving in the numismatic world. And as long as coins continue to circulate and be examined by curious eyes, the story of this unbelievable penny will endure, reminding us that history, value, and fortune can sometimes be found in the smallest and most unexpected places. So if you've enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most mind-blowing stories in modern coin collecting history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more rare coin discoveries, and hit the bell so you never miss an update about the next hidden treasure that could be lying in your pocket right now. Next, 1999 1-cent coin. Today we have an unbelievable story that will change the way you look at pennies forever, because we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious, rare, and valuable coins in modern American history, the 1999 1-cent coin. A seemingly ordinary Lincoln penny that under certain rare conditions is now believed to be worth up to $58 million due to a combination of extremely rare minting errors, transitional anomalies, and incredibly limited distribution possibilities that make it one of the most hunted coins by collectors, dealers, and even museums. So buckle up as we unravel the truth behind how a 1-cent coin struck in 1999 could command such an outrageous value, a story that blends the precision of minting science with the unpredictability of human error and the thrill of numismatic discovery. Because the 1999 penny might look like every other copper-plated zinc coin in your pocket, but a small number of them, barely known to the general public, were minted with unusual and in some cases baffling flaws that have sent ripples through the coin collecting community for over 2 decades. And these aren't ordinary worn-down pennies. These are extremely rare varieties, some with double dies so dramatic you can see them without magnification, others struck on foreign or experimental planchets, and a handful suspected of being test coins for upcoming transitions or even struck with mismatched dies from other coin denominations. And while most people might shrug off the idea of a modern penny being worth millions, the 1999 1-cent coin proves that era coins from relatively recent years can carry more mystery, historical weight, and collector demand than many older counterparts. And to understand this fully, we have to rewind to 1999, a pivotal year in U.S. mint operations. When preparations were underway for the major 2000s redesigns, new coinage initiatives, and intense minting pressure to fulfill orders while managing evolving technologies. In die creation, coin composition, and mechanical striking systems, this period of transition, coupled with the massive volume of coins produced, created the perfect conditions for mistakes, and the 1999 penny is a textbook example of how these mistakes can create some of the most desirable and valuable coins on the planet. One of the most famous errors found on the 1999 penny is the double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile and inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust appear with clear doubling due to die misalignment during the striking process, and while doubled dies are a known error type, the severity and clarity of the 1999 doubling make it extraordinary, especially in high-grade examples, and collectors have paid tens of thousands just for well-preserved specimens with this dramatic doubling. But the story doesn't stop there, because in some extremely rare cases, 1999 pennies have been discovered struck on different planchets, including dimes, foreign coins, and possibly experimental blanks used for testing future coin materials. These off-metal strikes are extraordinarily rare, but confirmed examples have surfaced, including one struck on a dime planchet, resulting in a thinner, silvery penny with distorted features and incomplete rims, and these types of errors are valued so highly because they represent a complete breakdown in minting protocols. Something that isn't supposed to happen in a facility with extreme quality control, and when such breakdowns do occur, and when those coins escape into circulation, they become instant numismatic legends, and among the most tantalizing possibilities regarding the 1999 penny is the alleged existence of transitional errors, with some coins struck using either leftover dies or planchets from prior or future years, such as those from 1982 or early 2000s modifications. And though these have not been confirmed en masse, several coins have been submitted for grading that show weight discrepancies, metal inconsistencies, and design elements inconsistent with standard 1999 cents, and that opens the door to speculation about private strikes, test coins, or even unauthorized mint activity, which, if proven, would make such pieces not just collectible, but historically priceless. And then there are the coins that have been misaligned, struck off-center, or created with multiple strikes that overlap images and text in surreal patterns that look like modern art. These visual oddities are often the result of feeder malfunctions, die rotations, or planchet misfeeds, and while minor off-center strikes are relatively common, the 1999 pennies with severe misalignments, especially those exceeding 50% off-center or featuring multiple strikes, are so rare that only a few dozen are known to exist in such conditions, and depending on appeal and grade, these coins can sell from thousands to hundreds of thousands, and this cumulative wave of rare errors, transitional anomalies, and unexplained minting deviations is what makes the 1999 penny so extraordinary, because unlike older coins that gain value through age and scarcity, this penny represents a confluence of technology, human error, and economic transition, with fewer than a handful of each rare type known to exist. And when such coins are graded and certified by top-tier organizations like PCGS or NGC, their value skyrockets, especially when they achieve grades of MS67 or higher, and in an ironic twist of fate, some of the most valuable 1999 pennies were initially overlooked by collectors because the year seemed too modern to be significant, but as the numismatic community gradually uncovered more and more bizarre examples from this year, it became clear that something strange had happened at the U.S. Mint in 1999, and now, with growing demand and increased awareness, the rarest of these coins are now fetching record-breaking amounts at auction, and one particularly famous 1999 penny with dramatic obverse doubling sold for over $45,000, while another off-metal strike was rumored to have been privately sold for a mid-six-figure price due to its unique characteristics and irrefutable provenance, and when factoring in the speculative value driven by collector enthusiasm, media buzz, and the thrill of the hunt, the estimated combined market worth of all rare 1999 penny varieties could reach $58 million or more, a figure that continues to rise as new discoveries are made and coin shows, auctions, and social media forums elevate their visibility, And what makes this story even more exciting is that you, the viewer, might unknowingly possess one of these million-dollar rarities, because many of these errors are subtle, often mistaken for damage or wear, and the only way to know for sure is to inspect your 1999 pennies closely, look for doubling, test their weight, examine the edges, and compare with verified examples online, because that tiny 1-cent coin sitting in a jar or hiding in the folds of your wallet could be your ticket to life-changing wealth. And every day more people are digging through their pocket change, searching coin rolls from the bank, or flipping through inherited coin collections, hoping to uncover the next legendary 1999-era penny. So don't count out that coppery little circle just yet, because it might not just be currency. It might be a treasure. A piece of minting history so rare and so mysterious that it commands millions on the open market, and with such astronomical stakes, it's no wonder the 1999 penny continues to spark obsession, excitement, and discovery across the world of numismatics. And if you found this story fascinating and want to learn more about how seemingly worthless coins can hold unbelievable value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to discover the next multi-million-dollar penny hiding in plain sight. Next, 2017 1-cent coin. Today we are diving into a thrilling discovery that has shocked collectors and numismatic experts around the globe. The unbelievable tale of the 2017 USA 1-cent coin that has stunned the world by being valued at a jaw-dropping $14 million because of its rare errors and fascinating production mistakes that turned what should have been just another penny into one of the most valuable pieces of modern coinage ever known. And if you're a passionate collector, a curious observer, or just someone who wants to understand how something so small can become so incredibly significant, buckle up, because this story is going to blow your mind as we unravel the mysteries behind the 2017 penny, a coin that has created waves in coin shows, auction houses, and online communities alike, and whose background reveals just how complicated and rare certain minting errors can be and why those errors have given it a value most people would never believe possible for a coin that's barely worth a cent on its face. And to begin with, let's look at the basic facts that make this penny intriguing. The 2017 1-cent coin was minted in Denver, one of the most efficient and consistent mints in the country, with cutting-edge equipment, tight quality control, and a long-standing history of coin production. And yet, even within such a controlled and professional environment, anomalies can occur, and when they do, they produce coins that become legends. And in this case, what has made the 2017 cent stand out is a confluence of factors: errors in striking, die wear, planchet anomalies, and possibly transitional metal inconsistencies that have resulted in a very small number of these coins being wildly different from the rest. And when such rare characteristics are combined with the excitement of discovery and the fierce demand among elite collectors, the prices escalate rapidly. But let's go step by step into the kinds of errors found on the most talked about 2017 penny specimens that have been valued so highly. Because it's not just one simple mistake that elevates their value, it's often a perfect storm of multiple flaws and rare features, starting with doubling errors, which are one of the most visually fascinating types of mistakes where a part of the design appears duplicated due to misalignment of the die during striking. And some of the 2017 pennies show signs of dramatic doubling, especially around the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the word, "Liberty," where the letters appear shadowed, split, or appear as if typed twice. And these strong doubled dies are particularly prized when the doubling is visible to the naked eye, and it's been speculated that a limited number of early die states from the Denver Mint had slight misalignments which produced such spectacular results before the error was caught and the dies replaced. But that's not all. Because some of the most valuable 2017 cents also exhibit off-center strikes, where the coin was not properly centered during striking and results in part of the design being cut off or shifted dramatically to one side, and depending on how far off-center it is, such a coin can range from mildly collectible to extraordinarily valuable, especially if key features like the date and mint mark are still visible. And it's these rare alignments where the error is dramatic but identifiable that fetch the most attention. But the story deepens further when we consider the possibility of wrong planchet errors, which occur when a coin is accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different denomination or even a foreign coin, and imagine a 2017 penny struck on a dime planchet, resulting in a smaller, lighter coin with unexpected coloration and a shocking visual impact that immediately signals to the experienced eye that something is wrong, and valuable, and while rare. These types of errors have happened before, and when one surfaces, it becomes headline news in the numismatic world, and some of the known valuable 2017 specimens may exhibit just such an anomaly, with conflicting reports of lightweight coins or odd metallic luster that hints at such a planchet mistake. But even beyond that, there are coins that have lamination errors where a piece of the metal surface flakes or peels away due to flaws in the metal strip from which the blanks are punched, resulting in strange surface textures or holes in the coin, and these are eye-catching and unusual, especially when they occur near important design elements like Lincoln's face or the mottos, and they add yet another layer of intrigue and desirability to these coins. And then we enter into the discussion of die cracks, die chips, and cuds, flaws that occur when the die itself begins to break down or is damaged, resulting in raised lines, bumps, or blobs of metal in the final coin that weren't part of the original design. And these errors can give rise to nicknames and stories in collector communities such as spiked head Lincoln or extra crown. And when found in conjunction with other errors, their appeal increases dramatically. And what makes the 2017 descent particularly interesting is how a number of these error types seem to cluster together in a few known examples, almost as if a short production run at the Denver Mint went completely sideways and produced a string of flawed yet fascinating coins before corrections were made. And for collectors, that kind of production event is like finding a gold mine, because it suggests the existence of a traceable group of rare coins with shared features, which can skyrocket their individual and collective value. And while only a few of these ultra-rare 2017 cents have been verified and sold in high-profile private sales and auction houses for millions, their fame continues to grow as more people search their pocket change and inherited jars for any sign of a similar penny, and with each passing day, the lore surrounding the 2017 descent expands, fueled by YouTube videos, collector forums, numismatic newsletters, and televised appraisals where stunned guests are told that their forgotten coin is worth more than a luxury home, and the psychology behind this also plays a role in its growing value. Scarcity combined with excitement, and the possibility that more may exist but remain undiscovered creates a fervor not unlike a treasure hunt, and because the coin is relatively new, there's still a chance that uncirculated examples or hidden hoards may surface from bank rolls, mint sets, or even change from vending machines, and with each new discovery, the market adjusts, collectors reevaluate their sets, and auction houses prepare for bidding wars, and expert graders from services like PCGS and NGC have already certified some of these error coins, giving them official labels and unique identifiers that verify their status and condition, and those certifications become permanent parts of the coin's provenance, establishing it forever as a rare and exceptional item. And when one of these coins appears at a major auction house, it's not unusual to see the hammer price rise into the 7 or even 8-figure range, especially when high-profile collectors or investors compete. And it's not just about owning a coin, it's about owning a story, a piece of modern history, a talking point, a conversation starter, a trophy, and possibly a legacy asset that grows in value over time, and all of this from a single penny minted in 2017 at a facility known for its precision and reliability. And that's the paradox that makes the 2017 1-cent coin so magical. How a momentary lapse, a slip of metal, a misaligned die, or a forgotten planchet could turn a common coin into a multimillion-dollar marvel that now commands admiration and envy in the numismatic world. And it serves as a reminder that incredible things often hide in plain sight, and that sometimes, all it takes to change your life is a little attention to detail. So next time you reach into your pocket, don't overlook that shiny penny. Check the date, check the mint mark, look closely for anything odd or out of place, because you might just be holding the next $14 million legend. And if you enjoyed this deep and exciting dive into the wild world of rare coin errors and multimillion-dollar mysteries, make sure you hit that like button. Share this video with every fellow collector and enthusiast you know. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next unbelievable story from the realm of valuable American coins. Last. Today we're diving into one of the most jaw-dropping stories in American numismatics. The 1989 1-cent coin that looks like your everyday penny but has stunned collectors and historians alike with its insane estimated value of $65 million. And if you're wondering how a simple 1-cent coin could ever be worth that much, then buckle up. Because this tale is packed with fascinating errors, minting mistakes, bizarre anomalies, and extraordinary possibilities that have turned an otherwise overlooked copper-plated zinc disc into a rare artifact of immense monetary and historical significance. And whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just stumbled onto this video while looking through a forgotten jar of change, you're about to understand why the 1989 penny is one of the most elusive and talked about era coins in existence. Starting with the infamous double die errors that have been reported on both the obverse and reverse sides of select 1989 cents, most prominently affecting the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date itself, and in some ultra-rare cases, even the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse shows signs of dramatic doubling, with extra steps appearing faintly above or below the intended ones, causing a mesmerizing visual echo effect that immediately catches the eye of expert graders and drives demand through the roof at auctions. And while double die errors themselves are not uncommon in the world of pennies, what makes the 1989 version stand out is the precision, intensity, and location of the doubling, some of which are so severe they appear almost three-dimensional under magnification, suggesting a unique set of circumstances in die manufacturing and alignment during that year, especially considering that the mint was still adjusting to technological changes that began in the early 1980s, including new engraving techniques and die creation procedures, and these shifts may have introduced unexpected vulnerabilities in quality control, which allowed flawed dies to escape inspection and be used for full production runs. And adding to the mystique are numerous examples of off-center strikes found among 1989 cents, some as little as 5% off-center and others as extreme as 30% or more, dramatically shifting the portrait of Lincoln toward one edge and partially truncating or eliminating the design elements like the date or motto. And in those rarest of cases where the date and mint mark remain fully visible despite an extreme off-center strike, values skyrocket due to the collectability factor being preserved alongside the error. And that's not all. Many 1989 pennies show evidence of broad strikes, where the coin was struck outside of the retaining collar that normally holds it in place, leading to a wider, flatter appearance with soft or smeared details near the rim, creating yet another sought-after visual anomaly. And some 1989 examples even display partial brockage errors, where the reverse or obverse design is impressed in mirror image due to the coin sticking to the die and transferring its design onto the next blank, resulting in ghost-like impressions that collectors find deeply intriguing. But perhaps one of the most thrilling error types in this series is the so-called floating roof on the Lincoln Memorial reverse, where the roof of the building appears to levitate above the columns due to overpolishing of the dies, effectively erasing the vertical support lines and giving the entire structure an eerie suspended look that challenges the symmetry of the original design and creates a disorienting effect under close examination. And when these floating roof varieties are combined with other errors such as die cracks, die chips, or lamination flaws, the coin's uniqueness and market value only increase, especially when these imperfections interact with Lincoln's portrait or the central features of the memorial, giving the coin an almost abstract, sculptural quality that adds a layer of visual art to its numismatic value. And speaking of die cracks, a wide range of 1989 cents feature long, jagged raised lines that traverse the coin from rim to rim, sometimes cutting across Lincoln's face or the memorial structure, resembling lightning bolts or deep scars. And these dramatic cracks occur when the die used to strike the coin begins to fracture from fatigue or misuse but continues to be used anyway, creating a distinctive raised line of metal on every subsequent coin. And the longer or more intricate these cracks are, the more desirable the coin becomes, especially among collectors who specialize in die states and progression tracking. And then there's the category of retained cuds, raised blobs of metal that occur when part of the die breaks away but the blank planchet fills the resulting cavity during striking, creating a wart-like growth that often appears near the rim and sometimes merges into design elements, significantly altering the coin's appearance and structural weight. And what's even rarer are 1989 pennies with striking errors involving die caps, where a coin sticks to the die and forms a cap that begins striking other coins in a deformed or mushroomed shape, leading to severely distorted surfaces that look nothing like a normal penny but hold extraordinary value because of their rarity and the extreme minting environment required to produce such anomalies. And another point of fascination is the number of examples that exhibit misaligned dies, where the obverse and reverse dies are not perfectly centered with each other, leading to rotated die errors where flipping the coin reveals the reverse to be significantly turned from its proper orientation, a factor that serious error collectors watch for carefully, especially when the rotation is significant, like 90 or even 180 degrees. And let's not forget the numerous lamination errors found on 1989 cents, where improper bonding between the copper plating and the zinc core leads to bubbles, peels, or flakes, which sometimes detach entirely or remain partially fused to the surface, creating strange topographies on the coin that make each piece one of a kind, and in some rare but documented cases, these delaminate zones occur across Lincoln's profile or the memorial, making them both visually striking and historically important as evidence of metallurgical inconsistency during the minting process. And another highly debated feature is the occasional presence of so-called ghost dates, where the numerals appear weak, misshapen, or partially missing due to die fatigue or over-polishing, especially the 1 or the 9, which leads to misinterpretation of the date and adds intrigue to the coin's identity, creating confusion in amateur collections and excitement for experts seeking oddities. And then there's the whispers of mule errors, where a 1989 penny might have been struck with a reverse die from another denomination or design entirely. Though no official specimens have surfaced with authentication, speculation persists due to multiple reports of strangely mismatched reverse elements that seem inconsistent with the standard Lincoln memorial design, and if ever one of these rumored meals were confirmed, its value could eclipse $65 million easily, especially if it is in uncirculated or mint state condition, graded by PCGS or NGC and tied to a strong provenance, and provenance is key here, because some of the highest valued 1989 cents come from verified mint rolls or collector estates where storage and handling were impeccable, preventing the common zinc corrosion and environmental wear that plagues many circulated examples from this era, and coins with high mint state grades, particularly MS67 or higher, combined with one or more rare error types, become instant legends in numismatic circles and headline auctions at major houses like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, sometimes creating bidding wars that push values into the multi-million-dollar range. And once a coin like this is sold publicly at such levels, its fame grows exponentially, fueling more interest, more searches, more urban legends, and even counterfeits, which is why authentication remains critical when dealing with ultra-valuable error coins like this, and beyond the technical attributes. The 1989 penny holds symbolic significance because it comes near the end of the Cold War, amid shifting global power dynamics and domestic economic change, representing a moment in history frozen in copper and zinc, and that context adds to its story as a collectible, because people aren't just buying a coin, they're buying a piece of American history, a physical echo of a transitional era, and the beauty of it is that anyone could stumble across one, at the bottom of a drawer, in a coin jar, inherited in a collection, picked up at a flea market or coin show. And that possibility fuels dreams and obsessions across the globe, uniting amateurs, experts, and treasure hunters in the eternal search for that 1 in a billion mistake that turns ordinary into extraordinary. And if you're inspired by the journey we just took through the mind-bending world of the 1989 penny and its $65 million legend, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating explorations into rare coins and the incredible stories they tell. Because your fortune might be sitting quietly in your pocket right now, waiting to be discovered.